there's one disrupting force that is slowly emerging that is likely going to change how we sell food to people, and that's the whole issue of GLP-1 drugs.
Food, like life, can be complicated. That's why I'm on a quest to learn all about our food and the crimes, issues, and debates that are tied to it. I hope you'll join me on my quest to explore the dark side of dining. Picture this. You're out with some friends and you decide to stop by McDonald's for some dinner. When you arrive, you're all looking at the menu, and one of your friends tells you that they honestly don't want anything from McDonald's, but would rather have a nice salad at a nearby place. So, not wanting them to be the only one not eating, you and your friends decide to leave and go to the other restaurant. This is McDonald's worst nightmare, and this situation is growing more likely to happen thanks to an unlikely suspect: drugs. Here to talk to us today is food professor Sylvain Charlebois, who we've had on the show before talking about butter scandals in Canada. Here's what he had to say about this issue. I'm curious if there are any current issues that you're aware of that you wouldn't mind sharing a bit about.
I'd say right now there's one disrupting force that is slowly emerging that is likely going to change how we sell food to people, and that's the whole issue of GLP-1 drugs, weight loss drugs like Ozempic. It's really the quiet disruptor, I think. This week we learned from McDonald's that they're acknowledging that Ozempic is a problem for them. So on Tuesday of this week, McDonald's actually came out and said, we're going to have some issues with Ozempic, and the stock itself was downgraded twice in a day. McDonald's, the golden standard of the industry. So that's not good. I can tell you that is not good for a company to self-diagnose, to basically say to the market, to their shareholders, you know what, we're going to have a harder time getting traffic. McDonald's. And they went through a lot. I mean, health concerns have been around forever, and they've been resilient. They've survived all sorts of trends over the years. And frankly, it's hard to bet against McDonald's. And frankly, I wouldn't bet against McDonald's still. But this Ozempic thing is a threat, absolutely.
Ozempic and other GLP-1 drugs have McDonald's worried because of what they do. But if you're anything like me, I hadn't really heard about these drugs before this. So I needed a rundown of what exactly they do. So what exactly do these drugs do? Because I personally haven't heard too much about this. I've heard it like, oh, this is a miracle weight loss drug, but that's about it. But what does it actually do?
It was designed for people with type 2 diabetes. Okay. But they actually slowly realized that if you take these drugs, you actually lose weight as well. Okay. When COVID hit, a lot of people noticed, and I don't think it was actually out in the open, but a lot of people did notice that people who were overweight were more likely to die of COVID than people who didn't. It was out there, it was out there. And during COVID, people started to think about their health. They started to think about, how can they actually lead better lifestyles. And of course, a lot of people did gain weight during COVID. And so they went to their doctor and say, what do you have? Can you help me? And they said, well, there's this drug, but it's for type 2 diabetes, but it does help you lose weight. So physicians started to prescribe them, and there are more testimonials of people saying, you know what, I've lost a lot of weight and it's working. My life has changed and whatnot, and it gets you to not drink alcohol as much, doesn't get you to snack as much. Anything that's sugary or salty repulses you way more, 50% of the time, and so. That's certainly a concern, because if you want to get someone to eat more, make it salty. If you want someone to eat more, make it sugary. It doesn't happen with Ozempic.
Interesting. Yeah, because I remember I had a class in college where we were talking about food, and my professor mentioned that, yes, it's pretty much like if you want to make it attractive to people, it's sugar, salt, and fat. Those are the three things that like get people interested. So it suppresses those desires for two of those, for salt and sugar, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And so that's why I do think that more and more companies like McDonald's or Nestle or PepsiCo will have to think differently about the, it's pretty troubling to see a pharmaceutical sector, do something that nutritionists and health advocates can do, is to shrink McDonald's. Like, nobody thought it was possible, but I think if there is one thing that could be possible, is to see Ozempic shrinking McDonald's, the largest food chain in the world.
So these drugs effectively take away the craving for sugar and fat, two of the biggest ways companies draw us in to eat their food. It's no wonder that these drugs are being heralded as miracle drugs, capable of truly helping people diet. After all, it's a lot easier to diet when you have no impulse to eat. The general public acceptance of these drugs has been overall quite positive, but companies have had to try and keep up. Here's a look at how they're reacting to these changes.
Because they know that in a few years from now, they'll have millions fewer people going to McDonald's, because they don't long for McDonald's. They don't look for fast food at all. They don't want a snack. It makes them ill. So there's likely to be almost 30 million Americans using a GLP-1 drug to lose weight by 2030. And in Canada, it's going to be probably around 2 million to 3 million. That's a lot of people. And a lot of companies, and I would argue that Pepsi's doing it, Mars is doing it, Nestle's doing it. All these companies have focused, their business model is based on one thing: impulse buying and impulse eating. Well, it's hard to actually get someone to buy chips when they actually hate them now, and it repulses them. If someone actually drives by the Golden Arches and they don't even want to just smell fries or something like that.
Do you think this will mean that there will be more of a shift towards like healthier foods, maybe even within places like McDonald's, or that maybe other companies will come in to kind of provide a different kind of food that does appeal to these people who are using Ozempic?
So Nestle just launched a new series of Ozempic-friendly products, if you can believe it. I mean, Nestle's case is interesting. When they decide to launch an Ozempic-friendly line, I think there's something to that. It's like the plant-based discussion, and that's another phenomena impacting the industry. There was a lot of rejection. A lot of people rejected the fact that people would only eat plant-based products, like vegetable protein, and McDonald's actually did explore that, and of course they didn't say we'll replace our beef with this product. No. They basically decided to include, Burger King did the same thing, include another product on their menu. So they kind of democratize their menu, if you will, because let's face it. I mean, if you have a group, I don't know, of 6 people showing up at McDonald's, and just one of them is a vegan or one of them is a vegetarian, if that person cannot find anything on that menu they can buy, the entire group will go away and go somewhere else. And McDonald's knows that, and Tim Horton knows that, and that's why you saw like these democratization of menus for the consumer. I think for GLP-1s, I suspect we're going to see that as well. We're going to see, the regular tasty, high calorific products, the ones that they want to indulge. But if you're on a GLP-1 drug, well, there's probably things that they won't call it that way. They'll call it diet-friendly products or whatever, and they'll come up with a line of products to accommodate that person or people. Because I mean, you don't brag that you're on a pill, or you don't brag that you're on a GLP-1 drug, but you can actually buy them and still stick with your friends and family. Yeah. So a lot of companies are pretty nervous about what's happening, and I know that the medical field is concerned about the overuse of these drugs. But I do think a lot of people just, I mean, it's tempting to lose weight if you just take a vaccine or a pill, and I do think it's going to impact the bottom line of a lot of companies. Weight Watchers went bankrupt because of just is under receivership right now because of what happened to Oprah Winfrey and the switch over to GLP-1 drugs. So it's a pretty massive shift that is actually ongoing right now, and shares for McDonald's, Pepsi, Nestle, Mars, they're all down year to year for that reason.
Interesting. So any other thoughts you want to share on this particular issue?
No, I mean, we can talk for 3 hours, to be honest. There's always something going on. It's always, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll go ahead and kind of wrap up, but just for our audience, where can they find you? What would you have us kind of direct them towards?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can actually find me if you Google the Food Professor. You'll probably find me on X under the Food Professor, LinkedIn as well under the Food Professor. We have a podcast as well, so that's why when I get invited to podcasts, I say yes because I support the movement. I really enjoy listening to podcasts, and our podcast is quite successful. It's called the Food Professor as well, and it's available on all popular platforms, Spotify, Google, Apple, everything.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. This is the Food Professor.
That's right.
And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Needless to say, Ozempic and GLP-1 drugs are changing the game when it comes to food, especially fast food. And in the constantly shifting world we live in, companies have got to race to keep up with the latest trends if they want to survive. I honestly didn't plan on exploring this topic, but it came up in my conversation with Sylvain, and it was fascinating to me. This idea that a simple pill can take away cravings and shake up the food market is incredibly interesting, and it's almost like hacking the matrix. I guess the only question is, are you going to take the red pill or the blue pill? The Dark Side of Dining is a production of Food for Thought Audio. This episode was written, produced, and edited by me, Kenny Mears. Sylvain Charlebois is a professor at Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia, Canada. You can find him on X at Food Professor or on Facebook or Instagram as Sylvain Charlebois, as well as on his podcast, The Food Professor. Links will be included in the show notes. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, thanks for your messages. We read them all, and thanks for listening.